Greetings, YouTubers, School of Tomorrow, friends. Friends could mean Quakers. One of my favorite Quakers here is Mark Allyn. He's moved to Bellingham actually, but man, the guy has really done a great thing with Blender. I had no idea he was going to tackle Blender. Mark Allyn, you are my hero. And I've tried to go up the Blender learning curve myself. Blender, by the way, for folks who don't know, here I think I used Blender to do the graphic at the top of this essay, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. We do geometry here, folks. We do polyhedra. I show off toys, and I don't, you may see me show off a product or two that I'll do voluntarily and not for pay sometimes, right? So just because you see products, don't assume like if I don't hit paid promotion, there's probably a good reason for that. I just want you to know about certain products. In other words, I think if humans did promote and advertise things that they honestly liked and wanted others to know about, that we wouldn't need as much paid advertising. If, it sounds kind of Truman Show and kind of phony, but in real life, you often endorse products, right? Um, that's what commercial advertisers want the most is word of mouth, and you can't pay for that. It's the best thing. So I just wanted to say there's a lot of word of mouth going on here too. This was my last video, bridging to STEM. STEM, if you didn't know, stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's kind of clever. It's easy to say. It's what we call an acronym. And bridging to means we're coming from what? I say path, philosophy, anthropology, theater, history. Now, theater history, it's different because theater is all kinds of I'm sorry, history is supposed to be nonfiction. Now, a lot of fiction gets into history, tons. Let's say history is 40% fiction, but we don't know if it's fiction. But anyway, it strives to be real, whereas theater and fiction in general and literature is off the hook of trying to be real. It just wants to be imaginable, and maybe possible according to what we know of science and the laws of science and so on. Now, I often talk about hexapence or Goldberg polyhedra, and what you see on my screen is recent history where I've been just checking again to see the state of the art. These are mostly amateur gamers using Unreal, kind of like Mark here is using Blender, right? These are things that you can download and use for free and pick up your skills. And it seems like the amateur gamers are very up on the Hexsphere as a planet, where and you can see it subtly in the commercial games. Maybe not where you'd think, maybe not in Civilization yet, and so forth. So over here on Medium, okay, I think I did that in Blender a long time ago. So it's concentric polyhedra is what we say. One of them is the cuboctahedron made of Zone tool here. This is approximate. These are two different lengths mixed together, slightly deceptive. And then we jitterbug to the icosahedron. I'm giving you, a whole different view of an icosahedron when you see it like this, or when you see it more of a spherical icosahedron. We call this an icososphere or icososphere, depending on how you pronounce things. And so that's what we do in this channel a lot, is we talk about math pedagogy. And in this particular recent posting to Medium, I'm saying boycotting the concentric hierarchy is not okay in my view. And that's just my view, right? So I'm allowed to have views, and this is one of them. So I'm scrolling through this slowly enough to suggest, oh, you could even stop and read it if you wanted. It's kind of a way of backing up or archiving something to just scroll through it, right? So if you wanted to go back and read it, maybe you could. I've backed up quite a few things this way, visually. It's not ideal, right? But it's not digital. Well, it is. It's very digital. you can scan video and you can scan video text and get the text out. So let's finish up. There we go. This is Jupyter Notebooks. So if you've been following this channel, I'm kind of at the high school level. Think of me as a high school teacher. I'm taking you from STEM back over the bridge to more like the humanities. But we don't forget the STEM that we've been studying, which has to do with volumes, surface area, the ratio between them. We like the book Scale by Jeffrey West, Santa Fe Institute. And then we use Synergetics to sort of ground our vocabulary in many ways. We have some sort of strange ways of talking and thinking, isotropic vector matrix, IVM. But this all works well for us as we go back to the humanities and take these treasures with us, or you could say these are treasures we had in the first place. Because synergetics actually is a philosophy, and that's the P in path. So we started out on the path side of the chasm, built a bridge over to STEM, and now we're going back with a lot more to think about, right? Peirce is one of those that I'm thinking about because his background in science was pretty strong, right? He's a pragmatist American philosopher, studied chemistry at first, and had a career as a chemist. And I haven't spent a lot of time with this guy, and so that's what's happening, and you can see my YouTube history here, which I share quite often out of convention, like something I do. This is what I've been reading, this is what I've been watching. It's kind of like on TikTok, we show our bookshelves. I've done a TikTok that way, at least one. Anyway, Peirce is focus, interesting stuff. Connects to William James, already part of our trajectory back to before the pragmatists, the transcendentalists. There's a very soft segue between transcendentalism and pragmatism, kind of smooth paving going back and forth. So over on the path side in philosophy, we're contextualizing synergetics as an extension of American transcendentalism, but so is pragmatism, you could say. And so ultimately we probably come to rest in pragmatism. And why not? Because Fuller's whole focus, world game and so on, is very practical, right? I think that's why a lot of philosophers don't want to follow him into this practicality, because he's taking out patents and he's doing architecture. And this just seems too alien and foreign to most quote-unquote logicians, but maybe not Peirce. And through computer science and the fact that logic now includes computer science, we get back to the practicality of building our, quote, theater props, T in path. Change history a bit. If we don't keep missing the industry missed. In other words, let's lower the barrier, at least in terms of shelter, and get everybody sheltered, right? Even playing field. Right now, if you're doing great and you're really proud of yourself, it really doesn't matter because so many people just don't get a chance at all. So it's like, maybe think about that sometimes. And, but it's an uplifting time this year, right? This is a time we celebrate. So thank you, Mark Allyn, for cheering me up a lot with your Christmas memories and all your childhood memories through Blender. I will make a link to this in the YouTube description. All right, folks, good chatting. I know that was kind of rambly, but I'm the spherical pinball machine is what I am. We bounce around, but on a sphere. So we keep coming back to the same points. So if you're an old timer on this channel, we've hit a lot of the same points. Familiar Planet. Talk to you soon.